Google struck a deal with California lawmakers to fund local news. A Texas judge blocked the FTC from enforcing its ban on non-compete agreements. And Rotten Tomatoes further dilutes its utility with a verified hot badge. It's Thursday, August 22nd, and this is Engadget News. Google has reached a deal with California lawmakers to fund local news in the state after previously protesting a proposed law that would have required it to pay media outlets. Under terms of the deal, Google will commit tens of millions of dollars to a fund supporting local news as well as an AI accelerator program in the state. The agreement ends a months-long dispute between lawmakers and Google over the California Journalism Preservation Act, a bill that would have required Google, Meta, and other large platforms to pay California publishers in exchange for linking to their websites. Google strongly opposed the measure, which was similar to laws passed in Canada and Australia. Earlier this year, Google began a short-term test in the state that removed links to local news for some users in California. The company also halted some of its own spending on local news in the state. Now, Politico reports, under the new agreement, Google will direct at least $55 million to a nonprofit public charity housed at UC Berkeley's journalism school. The university will distribute the fund, which also includes at least $70 million from the state of California. Google will also commit $50 million over 5 years to unspecified existing journalism programs. The agreement also includes funding for a national AI innovation accelerator. Details of that program are unclear, but Cal Matters reports that Google will dedicate at least $17.5 million to the effort, which will fund AI experiments for local businesses and other organizations, including newsrooms. That aspect of the deal, which is so far unique to Google's agreement in California, could end up being more controversial, as it could exacerbate existing tensions between publishers and AI companies. In a statement, Alphabet's president of global affairs, Kent Walker, credited the thoughtful leadership of California Governor Gavin Newsom and other state officials in reaching the agreement, saying, "California lawmakers have worked with the tech and news sectors to develop a collaborative framework to accelerate AI innovation and support local and national businesses and nonprofit organizations. This public-private partnership builds on our long history of working with journalism and the local news ecosystem in our home state, while developing a national center of excellence on AI policy." The Federal Trade Commission's efforts to ban non-compete agreements has been blocked by a federal judge in Texas. According to the Washington Post, U.S. District Judge Ada Brown has determined that the agency does not have the authority to enforce the rule, which was supposed to take effect on September 4th. She reportedly wrote in her decision that the FTC only looked at inconsistent and flawed empirical evidence and did not consider evidence in support of non-competes. FTC Chair Lena Khan explained that non-compete clauses keep wages low, suppress new ideas, and rob the American economy of dynamism when the agency voted 3-2 in favor of the ban. Non-compete agreements are widely used in the tech industry, and preventing companies from adding them to contracts would mean that workers will be able to freely move to a new job or start a business in the same field. The two Republican commissioners in the FTC voted against the ban and also said that the agency overstepped the boundaries of its power. In July, Brown temporarily blocked the rule's enforcement to assess the lawsuit filed by Dallas tax services firm Ryan LLC mere hours after the FTC announced the ban. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce and other groups of American businesses eventually joined the tax firm in challenging the new rule on non-compete clauses. A federal judge in Florida also blocked the rule last week, though only for the lawsuit's plaintiffs. Meanwhile, another judge in Pennsylvania ruled last month that the agency has the authority to enforce the ban in a separate case filed by a tree care company in the state. All 3 cases could still be appealed and could even make their way to the Supreme Court. Rotten Tomatoes just added a new verified hot badge that indicates an overall positive user score that will join the certified fresh badge for critic scores. To qualify for this designation, a movie or show needs to have a verified audience score of 90% or higher. There's also a hot badge for content with a verified audience score of 60% to 90%. Finally, the dregs will be slapped with a stale badge, which is for any show or movie that falls beneath 60%. Rotten Tomatoes is trying to get around review bombing here by mandating that user reviews be from people who actually saw the movie in question. There are a couple of little problems with this. It verifies that a consumer saw the movie via the ticketing firm Fandango, and there are plenty of other ticketing firms out there, including, the theater cashier. Also, Comcast owns both Rotten Tomatoes and Fandango, so this seems more like synergistic advertising than an actual way to beat review bombers. And finally, this whole verification thing is only for movies. There's no way to verify whether someone watched a TV show or not. So this wouldn't have helped all of those trolls descending upon the recently canceled Star Wars show, The Acolyte. From a cynic's perspective, this move only works to further dilute the utility of the entire site. There will be more uncertainty and plenty of more badges floating around, making the whole thing, messy. Will an average user be able to instantly know the difference between hot and fresh? The critic score average was already problematic, as reputable reviewers are weighted the exact same as purveyors of internet garbage. However, Rotten Tomatoes is addressing that by updating the minimum number of critic reviews required before a tomato meter score will appear. For smaller films, the site mandates at least 10 reviews for a score. Blockbusters will require 40 reviews. The hot badge has already been issued to current barn burners Deadpool and Wolverine, Twisters, Bad Boys Ride or Die, Fly Me to the Moon, and It Ends With Us. The company says it has also retroactively awarded over 200 films. Thanks for listening. There's more to these stories and additional articles at Engadget.com. This episode featured journalism from senior editor Carissa Bell and contributors Mariella Moon and Lawrence Bonk, and was voiced and produced from the boutique sound studios of Spoken Lair. Enjoy your day, and I'll be back tomorrow with more tech news from Engadget.